Hello, guys, and welcome to my live stream. I didn't know what to post. Life has really been hectic, but I'm trying my best to stay afloat. So, today I just wanted us to have a discussion. That's why I had it earlier on than the recommended time because I have other engagements to do. But today I just wanted us to have a candid talk. So share this live. My name is Charity Wanyonyi. I'm a certified nutritionist in Kenya, and today I'm wearing my hat when it comes to nutrition profession, nutrition field, and mentor. And you're going to have some few Q&A on when you feel invisible in your own profession. And I want us to just dive or dig deep and find meaning in the quiet of our work, because I know why I'm saying you can feel invisible in your own place of work. You can be having good suggestions, you can have all these ideas, but sometimes you just end up feeling invisible in your own profession. So let's talk. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the live stream comments. I'll be able to read them out. But if we don't have any questions, I have my own curated question that I felt like will resonate with most of my audience community at Charity Safe Haven. So please subscribe. I don't want to talk too much and I don't want this live stream to be long. So we're going to start with question one. Why do many professionals, I'm reading of course, especially in the nutrition and caregiver role, feel invisible sometimes? And I feel like this is a tough question and I didn't want this episode to be heavy, but I resonate with this question because I've ever felt invisible, especially when I just had gotten my attachment. And I think the better part of my internship, you could feel invisible until you ask yourself, who am I here? Why did I even choose to do this course? But I feel like we feel invisible sometimes because much of our work happens behind the scenes quietly. I feel like sometimes you're not always on the spotlight yet. I feel like as a nutrition profession, a nutrition field, we're still providing care, we're still changing lives one way or another. And I feel like people rarely see it. That's why you'll find people just loosely giving nutrition advice because they think they know. But if you find a professional, they'll be able to guide and change your lifestyle for the better in terms of your habits, what you eat, how you view food, your relationship with food, and just all the other lifestyle aspects that affect food. So recognizing um or recognition in such roles such as nutrition or the roles that involve a lot of caregiving sometimes is delay or a little subtle, and that makes sometimes we question our value as nutritionists. It makes you question why you even chose to do this. It makes you question why you're scared to go to work. Because there's a point in time I was so scared about doing nutrition or just waking up to go to work and just be a nutritionist because you'd be like nitafika, and then when I start to give my suggestion, no one is taking it in, and then you end up getting upset, and then you just end up not enjoying what you do. And I feel like these last few months of the year, I just want us to be in a reflective mood and reflect, because I feel like I'm in a point in my career right now, I'm able to talk about these things candidly and freely. So, question two: how can we tell the difference between being recognized and being undervalued? Let me repeat the question. How can we tell the difference between being unrecognized and being undervalued? Because those are two different things. Being unrecognized means people don't really see what you can do, but they still benefit from it. That is the role of nutrition sometimes. And being undervalued is when systems, institution, or even yourself fail to acknowledge your worth. The danger is internalizing both at the same time, and that is where the burnout begins. So let me repeat. I want us to understand the difference between unrecognized and undervalued. Being unrecognized means people don't always see what you do, but they still benefit from it. And being undervalued is the system, let's say the hospital you're working in, or the people you're working with, the institution if you're in an institution, or even sometimes ourselves, fail to acknowledge our own worth. You're a nutritionist, but you don't see your worth. Sometimes, if you internalize, like you reflect and you start believing you're unrecognized, you're undervalued, can sometimes lead to a burnout because you start to hate and resent being a nutritionist. Go watch the last episode I posted last Tuesday. I really talked about finding joy in our profession. And if you internalize these two and you really sit with them, you really mess up your profession and your career, and you'll end up hating what you do. And I know most of you really hate sometimes being nutritionists. And I'm here to tell you it's not always the case. Yes. So the question 3, what are some signs that feeling unseen is starting to affect your mental health? We all sometimes feel unseen. When you start losing motivation for the things you once loved, we talked about this in the last episode, you withdraw, you question your competence, very, very common, and coupled up with imposter syndrome, I can feel like you start constantly seeking validation actively, like, why are you not seeing my work? You see what I did? I documented. Like, you go around telling people what you've done, and I know it's not sadness, but sometimes it's so sad when you're fighting to be seen. I know it's not a laughing matter, I know it's a serious matter, but sometimes you can really beg for validation. So you get into the word. You, of course, you're undervalued. Let me say that. And then you end up doing your job, and then you end up parading yourself, telling people, I've done this. What do you need? Like, it's so sad. I know. I feel like it can be emotionally exhausting, and then it can turn you into an indifferent person, and that will start to affect your mental health because you start saying, even if I don't show up, even if I come, they will not listen to me. So you start acting indifferent. When they call you for a word round, you're not showing up. When they call you for an engagement, you're not showing up because you'll see they will not recognize you, and sometimes they will undervalue your work. So you'll be exhausted and you'll just be indifferent and you'll not give it your best. I'm sorry, guys. I know I've laughed. That is just a trauma response. I take a full accountability for it. So, question 4, why is visibility such a strong human need, even for professionals who say, I don't need the spotlight? I know sometimes you're told our work is behind the scenes. You do your job, you don't need recognition, but we are human. We all want to feel like our work is important. We want to feel like our work matters. And sometimes people mistake recognition for ego, which is not the case. There's a difference with someone who has a big ego or has a huge ego. Yes, it's about belonging and affirming. We all human. We all want to be affirmed, like you're doing a good job. We see what you're doing. We recognize you. You belong with us. You belong in this team, because in a healthcare setting, you'll always be in a team. Yes. So sometimes you might say, I don't need the spotlight, I don't need to be recognized. But sometimes the quiet message that says, I see you, your effort matters, that acknowledgement really fuels your purpose. We talked about this in the last episode. You really want people to say, we've seen what you've been doing, we see you. And especially in a work area where employees, I know validation should come from you, but sometimes the validation from the people you work for really boost your morale. They make you want to continue coming to work, continue showing up, continue doing. So don't seek validation. If you're in a place that is toxic, because I've been in a toxic work environment, go find that episode and listen to it. You really seek validation, and if you're not really confident in yourself, that thing will break you. So, as an employer, please, once in a while, acknowledge the work your employees are doing for you. If you're partners, acknowledge each other's role in pushing your brand. If you're partnering or collaborating with someone, please make sure their efforts are seen and tell them their effort matters, it goes a long way. I know sometimes we say we don't need the spotlight, but as human beings, we do. Yes. So, question 5: how can we find meaning in work that no one seems to notice? And this is also a very dicey topic. I'm sorry, I'm using the natural light, so it's fluctuating. So I want you guys to always remember that meaning is not measured by applause but by impact, and that is what I live by. Sometimes I always say, hata kama kazi yetu haikui recognized, but when you see the work you're putting in, working with your clients, and you see the impact you have in their lives, it should fuel you. Go watch the last episode. Every client you help or I help, every small improvement I've made, like right now, I'm doing my stock check of my vision board. I think I will share as the last episode of the year, God willing, what I had in my um, vision board, and then we do a stock check together. Let's see. I told you guys to get me to 200 subscribers. I might reveal some things, but let's see how it goes. Every moment you choose empathy over frustration, you know, in this profession, it can really frustrate you. Those invisible victories, I know I'm quoting, but those victories that no one sees but yourself, is where your legacy grows. I think I had on my compass, I talked about the legacy you leave behind. I think that time we had just buried Honorable Raila Odinga, and you could see, like, up to now, his legacy is still being felt. So I feel like those victories we never got to see until when he's dead, and they're highlighting some of what he did, and then we're like, that is what he did. Those were behind the scenes things that really pushed and made him who he is. So I feel like you should find meaning by the impact you have in people's lives. That's why in our corner, we usually merge both the soft skills and the technical skills so that you can be able to improve yourself as a person. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't know how to break down that knowledge to easy to understand, you'll be talking to yourself, you know. So I feel like this question is very, very important because it resonates with me. Finding meaning when no one seems to notice your work. It can be hectic, especially when you're just starting as a social media person. You're always posting on LinkedIn, you're posting on Instagram, you're posting on Facebook, you're doing TikTok reels, you're hoping you'll go viral, you're hoping you'll get followers, but no one sees your work. On YouTube, you're constantly editing videos, you're constantly posting only to get 10 views. It can be discouraging, but for me, I always view it in a positive lens about the impact I have on you guys, the comments I get, the DMs I get, the WhatsApp messages I get, and people telling me I continue doing what I'm doing. Those things, they fuel my purpose. Yes. So question 6: what helps when you feel unseen by your peers or supervisors? I feel like this um, also resonates with the last question. I feel like when you feel unseen, because I don't know if they do it deliberately. Sometimes I always just want to be in someone's mind, and I'm like, do you do this deliberately, or you just see your employees working extra hard to push or propel your business, but you just assume like they're not there. You don't see any good in what they do. You're always seeing the negative part. So for me, what I'll tell you guys is to start by affirming yourself. And I wish I had known that, because that toxic job really broke me. But from there, I learned the hardest truth is the validation I was talking about in the last question has to come from you. Document your small wins, however small. If you have a recurrent client, if you have a sale, document those wins. For me, I wish I could show you, I converted like an ice cream tin into my gratitude jar. Everything that I'm grateful for or anything good that happens, no matter how small, I write it on a piece of paper and I throw it in that. I will open that God willing, 31st of this year, as we usher in the new year. I want to look at what I have done so far this year so that I can stop beating myself down. Yes. Share your progress with supportive colleagues. That's why in our workplace, I always encourage you to support one person, your acquaintance. They always say your work colleagues are not your friends. So support your acquaintance, or mentor, because they are older generation who like mentoring the younger generation. Share with them, not in a braggy way, or just support one. They're always there, but just be careful. Yeah, they're always there, but be careful who you confide in such places. And if you can, gently advocate for visibility, not as pride, not using your ego, but as partnership. I love to share this project with the team. It's a great way to start being seen. If you have a good idea, share, but squeezy, yani sijui utasema, they don't know the world we're turning into. You might share those ideas, alafu mtu anaichukua anaifanya inakuwa yake. That's why I always look at people who, like, they copy you and they don't acknowledge the idea was yours. I always feel bad because as a creative person unakaa chini unafikiria all these creative ideas, you put them in a nini, because you're not well known. Someone who is well known takes your idea. There's these cases, I always follow them on social media, people stealing each other's ideas and not even acknowledging the person who came up with the idea. It's very, very sad. Yes. So please copyright your work. That's why I put my logo everywhere. You cannot steal my work. I will know. Even if you remove the logo, I will know there's a way I do my work. Even if I do it for someone else, someone will notice, because I'm very detailed with what I do, and I have very unique things that are only for charity, even digital. No one else will know. So I feel like if you're in a place, you can share the idea and make it yours. So hata mtu akichukua haizi ifanya because it's your idea. Yeah, so speak up for yourself. Advocate for visibility. If what you're saying you believe and truly see it will work or benefit the patient, the client, or the institution you're working for. So question 7, how do you stay motivated when no one seems to notice your consistency? Motivation is very elusive. Some days you can be highly motivated, some days you can be demotivated. But I want to tell you guys to shift your reward system. Celebrate yourself weekly. For me, I'm all about celebration. That's why you should tune into the nutritionist compass, the nutritionist compass. It's my newsletter on LinkedIn. On Sundays, I share self-care tips. I always talk about how to be great, take care of yourself as a nutritionist, as a healthcare professional, or as someone who is into mental advocacy. Gratitude journaling, that is very, very important. I told you guys I've been having ups and downs with my gratitude journey, but I really find my way back. That's why I have that gratitude jar. I add things I'm grateful for. I reflect on who I have helped, or I track my progress. These small rituals help rewire my brain from seeking external validation to finding internal fulfillment. Especially if you're in a place where uko huko chini, a reward system. I wish I could, this is a live, I cannot edit so that I write for you guys what a reward system is and some. Sorry guys, internet. So gratitude journaling. Yes. Celebrate yourself weekly. After each week, ask yourself, what have I achieved? Have goals. I know watu wanasema those are bougie things, but for me, goals help me. At the beginning of the week, I have my goals. At Sunday afternoon, if I'm not at work, I will look at the goals and see if I've achieved them. Journaling, morning before I sleep, I do that. I reflect. Being a reflective person has really helped me grow. So I feel like it will shift from you seeking um external validation, like mbona haoni kenye nafanya, to I know what I'm doing is helping someone. Yes. So really, I feel like this question, I wish I could pin it. Please learn a reward system. Yes. So question 8, how can we support colleagues who might be quietly feeling invisible? We have different personalities. There are people who can talk, extrovert. There are people really just like keeping to themselves, introvert, but you can see they're very brilliant. Like ukikaa nao one on one na usikilize kenye wanasema, you're like, this guy or girl knows what they're doing. So I feel like for me, that's why we are really looking into starting a mentorship program at the Nutritionist Corner. Also at Charity Safe Haven, I try, but life is getting in the way. Nakukua busy, it's really hectic to juggle all those. But just appreciating, especially if you are a supervisor and you have students wenye wanakuja and you see the student is doing a good job, hata kama si wale wako, yeah, just say I notice how you handle that patient, or that was a great presentation. Mimi ukikuwa presenter kwa the corner, you do a good job, you come to our live, I will always go to your inbox and I appreciate you. I will tell you, good presentation, you did a good job, because I feel like encouragement shouldn't be rare. It's how we build emotional safe spaces. For me, I always tell myself it will not take away from me as a person to just tell someone you did a good job. And that takes a lot of self learning, because we are wired to be selfish by nature. So ukiona mtu mwingine anafanya way better than you, kumwambia anafanya way better than you is so hard. But learning how to just push others and still push yourself, really, that's why gratitude is very, very important. When you shed light on someone, it doesn't take anything away from you. That's why unhealthy competition really turns me off. It aches me. I'm like, Mimi, I will not compete. Even if I have an idea, mtu achukue, I will not go to that person nimwambie, you took my ideas. No, I will even push your content, because I know whatever I did worked for you and it's working, so I'll push you. When you see other people coming to surpass you, push them waende mbele. This as nutrition is so vast, so wide. Ukihoard vitu, I feel like hiyo roho ya kushikilia vitu, I am praying against it. Yeah. Question 9, you're almost coming to the end. What role does community play in helping us feel seen? I feel like you guys as my community, I keep on appreciating you. I did in the last episode. Reminds me or us that we are not alone. It mirrors back our worth, because if I'm giving digital tools and I see you guys applying them, I'm like, yes, you're watching my content and you're using it. Especially when your inner voice goes quiet, when you connect with peers through conversations such as this live. I know nimewaambush tu na hii live because I had not planned on it. But if you find it along the way, because it's going to be on my YouTube channel, please watch and share. Safe spaces like Charity Safe Haven, that's why there's a safe there. Reach me out on my number. I will leave it in the description box. I feel like visibility become a shared healing. Especially when I share a candid episode about the struggles, or I share a post about the struggles we go through as nutritionists, especially in the low income areas, in developing countries, and you see a lot of people also resonating. It really helps me or the people who are posting feel seen. And like, you know what? I'm from Kenya, or you're from Tanzania, you're from Uganda, you're from Nigeria, and you're going through the same things as nutritionists. Yeah. So the final question is, what's one affirmation that we can hold on to when we start to feel invisible, especially when you get into a new place and you're just like, yes, you tell yourself this: even when unseen, I'm still impactful. Yes, I will repeat it. Even when unseen, I am still impactful. Keep repeating to yourself. I used to go to the mirror. I did a lot of mirror work when I got my first job in the hospital. Umekaa bila practice, especially after internship, and then ukapata. Yes, you have the knowledge, but translating it to theory sometimes can be. And then you find people who have been doing it, because when you do something, you gather experience and becomes easy. So mtu mwingine akikuja na ni mara yake ya kwanza, of course they will fumble. Si ati hawajui. So when you tell yourself, even unseen, I'm still impactful, every day, every morning you wake up, you start to believe it. You tell yourself, even in this small act of assessment I'm doing, I don't need an audience. Especially if you're in a boardroom, you'll be asked to talk, so please shine. Repeat that when doubt visits, especially when imposter syndrome creeps in. Sometimes the world might not clap for you guys. I am very candid, I'm very honest when I share such episodes with you guys. The world will not clap for you every day. The world might not see what you do, but when you're still making it better, clap for yourself. Guys, tell yourself, even when unseen, I am still impactful. Tell yourself every morning, every in the course of every day, when you feel like, what am I doing here, hata siulizi swali kwa board round, kazi yangu ikuwe appreciated, nimedocument kwa file, hakuna mtu ananiuliza. Unapata umeandika maybe waanze TPN or they start enteral fees, na unapata daktari ameandika something else and they follow what the doctor said, they're not following what the nutritionist said. Tell yourself in puff, go and make your voice known, yeah, because nutrition can try you. I think most of the patients I have like right now is from the nutrition career. I'm laughing, but it's really a serious matter. So, guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you happen to watch this later on, please do share. And I want you guys to remember, sometimes you will feel invisible, but how you choose to tackle that really matters. I hope the tips I've shared with you guys will help you. Um, just find the meaning in your quiet work. Find the meaning in being behind the scenes and still push. But these days, I know nutritionists wameamka. They don't like jokes. They're speaking up for themselves, which I really, really appreciate. So if you're in a place, hata kama wewe si nutritionist, you're in a place in your profession and you feel like you're invisible, I feel like this can work for you, because I only use nutrition because I am a nutritionist. So thank you so much. I know I say this live stream is not going to be long, but I love talking to you guys. Please remember to subscribe. Hit that red button down there. Subscribe. I feel like I love this candid Q&A because I don't script it. I just talk the way it is. Unajua edit, you remove some parts, but in imekuwa candid. So follow me across all the social media platforms as Charity Safe Haven. On LinkedIn at Charity Wanyonyi, I share a lot of helpful tips there. And if you come across this live stream, guys, do remember to share. And until next time, I've been yours. Bye.